Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 11 matchup versus the New York Giants. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and leave your thoughts and your score predictions for this game down in the comment section below. I would love to read your guys' thoughts and see your guys' score predictions, but I have a lot of thoughts about this game going into Monday Night Football. Buccaneers versus Giants. Prime time football action here. The spotlights are going to be on the Bucs and the Giants. And yeah, it's going to be a high-pressure game. Basically a must-win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the first thought I had going into this game was, man, the Bucs and the Giants have played each other a lot in recent years, and it's always been a close game. Let's go back to 2017, where the Buccaneers played the Giants, and the final score of that game was 25-23 in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The next year, 2018, the final score of that game was 38-35 in favor of the New York Giants. The year after that, 2019, the final score of this game was 32-31 in favor of the New York Giants. That was the year that Matt Gay missed that game-winning field goal in heartbreaking fashion. And then last year, in 2020, yet again, another close game, with the final score being 25-23 in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in the past 4 years, it's been 2 wins for the Giants, 2 wins for the Buccaneers, all 4 of those games being one-score games. Incredibly close games. Basically all field goal games, right, is how close it has been. I feel like this game will be no different. I think it will be an extremely close game. I do think it'll be a one-score game, but it won't be a field goal game that will decide this, winner of this primetime Monday Night Football matchup. But I do think it will be a very close game. The past 4 years have proven that whenever these two teams go head-to-head and clash against each other, it's always a close game. But that was my first thought I had there. The second thought I had was, okay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still banged up, but there are potentially reinforcements coming to the team. Rob Gronkowski and Sean Murphy-Bunting are both going to be game-time decisions. I think the expectation is going to be that Rob Gronkowski is going to play. Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think it's more likelier than not that he will play. At the end of the day, we will have to see what happens. Scotty Miller could also play in this Monday Night Football matchup as well. I imagine he is also going to be a game-time decision. But yeah, that would be great news. I've talked about this in recent videos about Rob Gronkowski coming back from his really devastating ribs, lung injuries that he sustained in that Rams game. He has been out for a good long while now. He would be greatly needed here by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially in the red zone. I think that he would continue to get back to the Gronk that we saw earlier on in the season, where he was really starting to show some flashes of that prime Rob Gronkowski before he had all of his injuries. Now he sustained this bad injury against the Rams. Hopefully he can come back to the Gronk that we saw at the beginning of the season. In the case of Sean Murphy-Bunting, basically getting as many guys back as possible in that cornerback room is going to help. Because you have only a couple of guys left who are actually healthy in Jamel Dean, Ross Cockrell, and Pierre Desir. Getting a guy like Sean Murphy-Bunting back, I think he'd be your #1 cornerback. He would increase the flexibility that you could have in that Buccaneers cornerback room. Will he be rusty? Yeah, I'm sure he will, but that hasn't necessarily stopped the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from putting guys out there in full starting positions. Look at Richard Sherman. The guy was signed off of the street. He came in and started 2.5 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right off the bat. I feel like Sean Murphy-Bunting will be more ready than what Richard Sherman was in his circumstances, and if both these guys can go, it'll be huge benefits to both the offense and the defense. And the next thought I had was the Giants are a really weird team. Right? You look at the circumstances that they're in right now, they're kind of in a limbo, and I've talked about that with other teams the Buccaneers have faced this year, like the Philadelphia Eagles, like the Washington football team, but, with guys like Daniel Jones, is he their franchise quarterback? Yes, no, I don't know, right? Because sometimes Daniel Jones, he showcases that he is a really, really good quarterback, not just as a thrower, but also as a mobile quarterback as well. But then he definitely has some games where he makes some head-scratching decisions. So I think the Giants are still trying to find their identity as a team. What are they going to do with Saquon Barkley and his injury history? What are they going to do with Daniel Jones? Is he their franchise quarterback? And all these other different types of questions are coming up. So while, this is a Giants team that is still trying to find their identity, and they're still trying to figure out whether or not Daniel Jones is or isn't their franchise quarterback, the Buccaneers should not take this team lightly because, as I said in the past, the Giants have always played the Buccaneers close, and they're 2-2 right now against each other the past 4 years, and Daniel Jones has made them pay for underestimating them before, so I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can afford to do that again. The next thought I had here was, man, the Buccaneers stars really need to step up on the defensive side of the football, and two guys that came to my mind were Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. So far this year, Shaq Barrett has 5.5 sacks. Jason Pierre-Paul has 2.5 sacks. I think that Shaq Barrett, I think, has overall done a fine job this year. He still isn't playing like the pass rusher who deserves $17 million. I mean, he's been a good pass rusher, I feel like, but I don't think that Shaq Barrett has been an elite pass rusher so far this year. He definitely needs to step up his game. But Jason Pierre-Paul, on the other hand, I feel has been very disappointing so far this year. I think that Joe Tryon has been outplaying Jason Pierre-Paul, and fair credit, JPP has been dealing with a lot of injuries this year. Heck, he's dealing with, I believe, a torn pectoral now is what he is playing through. But regardless, if that is the case, then you need to start playing Joe Tryon more than Jason Pierre-Paul. I believe it was Larry Foote, Tampa Bay Buccaneers outside linebackers coach, who came out and said that, hey, the guys who have the biggest paychecks are going to get the most playing time. And while I would agree with that in most situations, in the case of Jason Pierre-Paul versus Joe Tryon for playing time, I would argue that Joe Tryon deserves more playing time here. I think you look at the situation, JPP is hurt, might be doing himself more harm than good by going out there and playing a full starter's worth of snaps. Get the young guy out there who is playing some really, really good football right now in Joe Tryon, who is playing better than what JPP, I feel, has been giving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tryon is more athletic, and I feel like a combination of Barrett and Joe Tryon would be more beneficial to the Buccaneers pass rush and their defense right now. And heck, even rotate in Anthony Nelson. I feel like he's been doing some decent things so far this year when he's been getting into the rotation. He had a sack last week. Kind of get in some of these younger guys while JPP is dealing with, a long list of injuries that he's been dealing with so far this year, because these young guys are playing good football whenever they are out there, especially Joe Tryon. I would honestly, in my opinion, possibly make Joe Tryon the full-time starter for the remainder of this season, just in my opinion. But besides the defensive players needing to step up in Shaq Barrett and in JPP, the Buccaneers also need more from their wide receiver depth. Bruce Arians came out and said that the number 3 wide receiver needs to step up more. That's not, a 100% pointed comment to Tyler Johnson, but I do feel it is an accurate point to make. After Antonio Brown has been, shelved with his injuries, he is, listed as out for this Giants game, the Buccaneers passing attack hasn't been as potent. Part of that is also because of the fact that Rob Gronkowski is out, but I feel like besides, some, certain situations, maybe a game here, a game there, Tyler Johnson, Jalen Darden, some of these other backup wide receivers, Cyril Grayson had a nice 50-yard touchdown, but some of these other backup wide receivers need to step up. And there's been a lot of hype surrounding Tyler Johnson. There's been a lot of hype surrounding Jalen Darden. These guys actually need to start taking that hype and turning it into production, turning it into efficiency. When these guys have gotten the opportunities, they haven't been able to do a lot with the snaps that they have gotten. So we need to see that begin to change here, because you know, at the end of the day, Antonio Brown isn't going to be here forever. Chris Godwin might not be here forever. The Buccaneers do want to re-sign both those guys in the future, but if they can't, you're looking for guys like Tyler Johnson, like Jaylon Darden to step up into more important roles in the future. And this is how they prove that they are ready to be those future, you know, types of starters for this Buccaneers team. So they really do need to step it up. They will have an opportunity to do that again here versus the New York Giants, and I feel like it is going to be necessary against this Giants team who always plays the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in some close football games. But finally, guys, the last thing I wanted to say here was this is going to be a very crucial game here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I'm going to say it's going to be a must-win game. If they lose this game, you know, they lose, what, 3 in a row, rather, this would be a very, very tough loss to swallow, right? You lose 3 in a row, basically 3 games you really should have won if you are, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that everybody is saying you are. If they lose this game versus the Giants, it's going to be really tough to temper, you know, you might have to temper expectations for how the rest of this season is going to go. I'm just going to say that. I can't really put it into, you know, exact words, but if they lose to the New York Giants here, really temper expectations as to how the rest of this season, including the playoffs, would go. But I do think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win this game. I think they will step up when it is most needed, when they need to step up. I know the Giants always play them in close games the past 4 years, but I feel like the Buccaneers are hungry now that they've lost, you know, 2 games in a row against teams they really should have beaten. And I think they will get the win here. I'm going to say the final score is going to be 28-21 in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they will move on to a 7-3 record, regain some of that momentum that they've lost the past 2 weeks, or the past 2 games, rather, and continue to solidify themselves as one of the top teams in the NFC. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts about this game down in the comment section below and your score predictions as well. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, again, sorry if I'm congested and, you know, a little bit loose with my thoughts here. I'm still pretty sick, and I'm trying to get through it. I will still be doing my live stream reactions tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, again, I will see you guys in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.